Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, guys. I hope you guys are doing good and you are well by the will of Allah. And returning back to the cast, we have today our beautiful brother Munzir bhai. And let's talk on the topic. We see there are many people, there are many billions of Muslim, alhamdulillah, mashallah. But when it comes to utilizing the skills they possess, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed this ummah with a lot of blessings and ni'mah. But unfortunately, not many people realize their importance, including iman and belief and all, which we have touched in other podcasts. But today, let's talk on the other skills which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, which let us to sail in this world and utilize them. Now tell me, the amount of skills the Muslims possess, how can they utilize it for the Islam? Because many people think that it's just the knowledge we possess and not more than that. Do you think it's true?
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد. Obviously today we are alone, you and me. We usually have a
Cast.
cozy cast, but I mean today inshallah we're cozy, but it's the two of us.
Yep.
Today's topic is important, no doubt. Talking about the skills that Muslims can utilize and whatnot. And why is it important, first of all, to mention is you have to understand that Islam is a religion not only for you to sit and worship all day, all night. And
Yes.
when I say worship all day, all night, meaning only praying, only fasting, because whatever you can do could be a worship, but that's all intention, which we're going to touch upon later on. So Islam is a great religion, and it's a lifestyle. That this is one thing we should recognize.
Can you elaborate on the lifestyle part? Because people don't get it. They think it's just 15 minutes a day or 1 hour a day. And
Absolutely. No. Islam touches upon every single thing in your life, to the point where one of the disbelievers asked Salman al-Farisi, which is a Sahabi, he told him, "Did your Prophet teach you everything, even how to use the toilet?" He said, "Yes. He taught us even how to use the toilet." So our religion, alhamdulillah, it's a lifestyle. It's not only that's my religion and I pray, I look a certain way. No, everything you do should
Islamatized.
be Islamatized.
Yes.
It should be with submission to Allah Azza wa Jalla.
Yep.
And this doesn't mean, as we mentioned, and what is necessary on that. That's the correct word. What is necessary, since Islam is the lifestyle, what it necessitates is it also show us the outside aspects of life, the monetary or economic, the societal, even the personal development.
Yes.
We touched upon a certain societal stuff here in the podcast. We talked about our spiritual things in the podcast in the past. But one thing I don't think we touched upon a lot is how it emphasizes our personal development.
Yeah, how do we actually develop? Because people think that you just have to stay as a simple Muslim and just die after.
No. You have to understand this.
Yep.
Every single human being, matter of fact, is not created with no purpose.
Okay, so you're telling me there is one purpose which unites the whole humanity,
Yes.
and every individual possesses their own purpose.
Their own purpose and
Okay.
their own skills, their own talents. No one is here for no reason. Even the people you see in the hospitals who are paralyzed or brain dead. Some people are born, they don't have a mind, they don't have their existence is like their non-existence. People say وجودهم كعدمهم. Their existence, but that's not true. Even if their purpose is only to be a sign for other people, that's a purpose for them.
It's a purpose.
So every single human, you have to understand, has a purpose, has a talent, has something in him. But it's not about whether someone has it or not. It's whether you're going to take it out or not. Will you be able to live your life knowing that, okay, Allah Azza wa Jal created me with a certain talent, gave me something, some skill, something that I utilized it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to understand that every single human being has a talent, hidden, non-hidden. It could be apparent. It could be. You have to dig it. Some
So
people have
it's your responsibility to find it
to
out
find it out.
and polish it and
Absolutely.
utilize it.
And utilize it. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So some people could be good speakers. Some people could be really intelligent. Some people could be, strong,
Some people have ideas,
creative
to do
ideas.
da'wah and to do
Absolutely.
other stuff.
Some people are enthusiastic. What's the
Enthusiastic.
word? Enthusiastic. Their enthusiasm itself is a talent. It's a skill. Yani some people might not have the brain power. They might not have the strength. They might not have the wealth. They might not have these things, but they're enthusiastic. You tell them to do this, if they really are on it, they will go forward and they will be willing to learn. Some people's willingness to learn is their talent. My talent is not only like people think is drawing or singing والعياذ بالله, or having a good voice, let's say in general, because we want to have a general, like having good voice. That's not only your talent. Being able to draw, that's not only your talent. Being smart in math, that's not talent, is not restricted to these things.
Yes.
Your
yes.
talent could be your enthusiasm, like I mentioned. It could be your willingness to learn it. But now, that's good. So
Even when I was studying psychology, our professor taught us a chapter in skills and intelligence. Then I realized when she was teaching, there are not only there is not only one type of intelligence, which is like if you're good at maths, then you're good at everything. There are many things. There are 7 to 14 stuff. Like a person is good at what do you call athletics, or he's sharp by his like how to move his body, how to move his mind, how to think in this direction. Some people are good as philosophers, they're not good as mathematicians, but they're good at philosophers. People, then that day I realized, subhanallah, Allah has given everyone each power, and it's not that you are good and he's bad.
yeah,
But everyone has the skill which
Has
has to be utilized.
yes,
But what happens is nowadays people are first into doom scrolling, like they don't want to understand the what potential they possess, and they don't want to polish it and utilize it. I don't know how can a person live without any purpose. It feels dead. It just feels like
you have to understand that they also feel that way. It's not like we're the ones feeling for them.
okay, they do,
They do.
but
Why do you think people are depressed? Why do you think people are...
true.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Everyone is feeling like, how am I in this place, in this world?
Yeah,
And
simply
I'm
scrolling,
just simply like that. I'm just chilling like this. And
but then why don't they go for it? And
this is
work?
a beautiful point. And I think we can talk a little bit about what are the things that makes
Motivate
you...
people.
No, the opposite. Let's talk about the opposite, because
Demotivates.
that's what we're talking about right
Exactly,
now.
exactly.
What are the things that could be restraining the people from
Doing
either from a couple of things, from recognizing their talent? Number one, some people recognize their talent, but they don't utilize it.
unable to move.
And people, if they utilize it in haram and what the... So three things. You see what I'm saying?
Subhanallah, yeah.
So when we talk about the things aslan in the beginning that makes you blind from seeing your potential, one of the things would be your friends, your surroundings. If you're spending your time with people who are lazy, if you're spending time with people who would prefer wasting their time in playing cards or
Useless
domino, or you see what these things, they can spend hours and hours on end, then you will not figure out your talent. You'll not even, because you're not searching within yourself. You are not
Because your
asked to
friends are not doing that.
Not doing it.
Your friends are not questioning themselves.
Exactly.
You'll also not question
You'll
yourself.
You'll just go. So these from the things that will blind you from even figuring out your talent would be having bad friends.
The environment around you is like that.
Absolutely. Second thing would be,
And the friends part, people don't understand. The celebrities they follow, the people they follow on Instagram and then YouTube, it has an influence on you. If they
that's
follow,
amazing, yeah.
they follow lazy meme pages and this and that, which is funny. Okay, I understand.
that's a good point.
But
no?
after some time, it stays in your memory that everyone's doing that. Like subconsciously, your brain starts thinking everyone's slacking because the memes I see are like full of slacking. But people don't realize the small things which shape your mind and it destroys. Yes, continue.
Yeah. So that's one thing. Another thing is how he was brought up. Going back to our parents' discussions, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Is your parents tell you amount to nothing. A'udhu billah. You will amount to nothing. Their teachers, you will amount to nothing. You will waste your life. Instead of guiding the person, instead of helping the person, and some people are troubled by nature. Instead of nurturing them and helping them, you'll do nothing. You'll just waste your life like your father.
So
You see what I mean?
again, the environment came in where
Yeah.
parents and the elders
Yeah.
played a role in demotivating this kind of people.
Absolutely. So now they will not even search. They're like, I'm amounting to nothing. I'm doing nothing
This
already.
all things are happening subconsciously. You're
Subconscious.
not
No,
thinking
it's
it.
not. You're not thinking about. Because if you think about it, you will. The
You'll
people.
reject it.
That's it. The people who go out of this cycle are people who recognized it
Yeah, and they question themselves.
and they question, and then they
wrongly.
get out of it. You see what I'm saying?
Even sometimes I feel I do something creative and something outside the box. I feel it's not me. I feel it's haram. Even though I'm doing something good, I feel how come I can do this?
Yeah.
But no one helps you or no elder sees good in you.
Absolutely.
This the ni'mah of Islam which gives you to talk sweetly, talk positively. You don't see it in the
Yeah.
cultures, and then the mind of the kid is dead. He's not able to think. He's not able to question. If
Exactly.
he does something good, he's like, no, that's haram. I can't do.
And,
I
and
can
the
be
thing
so
is,
good.
Islam emphasizes for you to look around. Even if you see the Prophet ﷺ, how he gave
Sallallahu
people big roles, even if they were
Yes.
wrong, like
Yeah.
Usama ibn Zayd, he was young,
See,
but
this
he,
is-
he saw that in him. Even for example, when Amr ibn al-As, when he first became Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ and Khalid ibn al-Walid, he saw in them their talent in what? In being leaders and generals. So what did he do? He made them generals. He made them to the point where Amr ibn al-As was like, I think the Prophet loved me the most. صح ولا لا? So he went to the Prophet and he thought because he was keeping him as everything the general. So he's like, who's the most person you love? He said, Aisha. He said, no, I mean from the rijal, from the men. He said, Abu Bakr. He was Abuha, yeah, Abu Bakr. He was like, okay, خلاص. You see, so Islam emphasizes you to as the environment in general to what? To motivate the people. You
So
see?
you, as if you're a Muslim, if you're a good Muslim, you have to be a good HR, human resource manager. Like you realize, okay, the potential is good in this guy. Let us utilize it for the good
Absolutely.
and motivate them.
Yeah. So this is just so we want to mention quick points. So this is
Yes.
quick point of the things that will blind you from what? From seeing your potential. Now, what are the things that will stop you from utilizing this potential you have the talent? You recognize your talent. Now, some people recognize their talent.
Yeah.
صح ولا لا?
Yes.
Some people say, okay, I know I can do
Do
this.
this.
I know I can. But they don't do it. Why? Same thing. Like we mentioned, the social media. Number one thing. I will just mention one point so we don't divert away. You know? One point, which is social media. So they're looking at people who are living their dream. So they are feeding off their success. And they're like, okay, they're happy. So, and this is a sad reality. And this is why
this reality, unfortunately, even I suffer with sometimes. And I realize this. And the worst part is, the brain, subhanAllah, it's a very, very, very weird thing that if you visualize it, if you live the dream in your mind already, so it's good for you to replicate it. But if you're not going to replicate it, oh, you thought it's a great idea, khalas. You sleep over it, it doesn't matter. Do you know that?
Yeah.
You can visualize stuff in your mind and not do it, but still have the same pleasure.
Why? This is the issue. And this is what we're seeing with social media. Is people are feeding off other people's success. They're feeding off other people's happiness because that's what they wanted. And for some reason, they feel satisfied. And they're like, you know what? Although I'm not doing what I want, although I know my potential, I know my talent, but they are getting it in a silver plate. How? By enjoying other people's success.
SubhanAllah, that's so weird.
Yeah, عجيب. Allah musta'an. I recognize this from a long time. Allah musta'an. But Islam, the opposite. احرص على ما ينفعك. Allah, the Prophet ﷺ tells. ولا تحجز. Imagine the Prophet ﷺ, it's like he's talking to us.
What is it telling?
He's telling you focus on what benefits you. And don't give up. واستعن بالله. And be depend on Allah Azza wa Jal in your way to go. So focus on what benefits you. You see this, I know I can benefit from it, and then you go. طيب. And then the issue is the last point, which the three things we mentioned is
Yes.
the how when you utilize it, how do you utilize it?
Yes.
A lot of people utilize it in haram. Why? Because nowadays the reason يعني is nowadays haram has been normalized.
Yep.
And
It's
people
easy to do
it's
haram
easy.
then.
And not only this, the worldly benefit you get from utilizing your talent in haram is more than the worldly benefit you will get when you utilize your benefit in what is halal. So for example, you are a nice speaker, you know, you could use it in Islamic things, you get me, in the halal way and whatnot.
Talking about Islam and
But
doing
you'll
some
not
da'wah.
get that much
Money.
You'll
Yeah.
not get that much.
Even I was thinking
You
like
see,
when you
but
open,
when you use
yeah,
when you use TikTok and whatnot, and you
for something else,
something
promoting
else,
something else,
promoting the haram, what will happen?
a lot of people will come
you see.
up.
So this is the issue. So these are quickly the three things that we mentioned here.
Yes, so let's discuss on what are the skills you think. Let's discuss on how to identify your skills, because Alhamdulillah, what I did is I used to think a good Muslim is only the one who becomes an alim. If you're not an alim, anything else you become is not good. Like this is what you have been growing up when you're in a practicing household.
Yeah.
But I realized it's not that. If you want to benefit the ummah and benefit the Islam, not exactly that you can completely benefit Islam, but whatever you can give your submission towards Allah with the skills, it's not necessarily that you only choose one thing, but it's mainly what Allah has made you, equipped you with something which goes easy for you. For
But
me,
how do you figure
subhanallah,
out that thing?
exactly. For that, you have to see. For that, I have one question also. Like the question is, they are life coaches and inspirational gurus and this and that. Do you think all of them are useless and none of them can be helped to understand Islam and or do some worldly stuff? Or what do you think about this? Like many people are there who motivates.
There are, I would say, two types of people. Yeah, you have the motivators. No doubt, motivations like build you up and they get you excited.
Yes.
But there are two types of people in that.
In
So you
that
have
field,
one
yes.
person who listens to a motivation. He gets motivated, but this motivational speaker could be telling you to do things that are haram.
Or
You see, you as now what's upon you is to take what he said and convert it to the halal. But many people don't do that. And the second thing is to have an Islamic motivator. But then there is so much they can do. But you have to realize that it's upon you to really apply the excitement you feel and to maintain it. You get excited, you watch someone working out, for example,
Yes.
you get excited, I want to work out. You work out for a couple of weeks, and then what happened?
the motivation goes
The
down.
motivation goes away. So you have to you have to have your intention straight. And this is the thing that I saw benefited me. In everything I do, how do I stay consistent is to always have your
Intention straight.
But how do I?
Is it that not only you think about the intention, but you constantly remind and revisit your intention daily?
That's the thing, yeah. You correct your intention and you stick with it and always renew your intention. But this is after the fact of when you find the talent.
Correct.
But our issue is, how do I find my talent?
Yep. So we were talking about utilizing the non-Muslim
Yeah.
who are good at few things. Maybe they are non-Muslims who are giving good public speaking speeches on YouTube, so that you can learn the skill of giving da'wah and talking to people and all. So I would like you to elaborate on this, because when I realized this, okay, I love minds, I love exploring minds, I love talking to people, and this is the field of psychology. Why not utilize the field of psychology and Islam and help the ummah in need? Like, because in psychology, there are many useless people who don't understand about the deen, belief, and this and that, and they still want to help you with colorful hairs and everything, and they don't help you anyway. They don't. Unfortunately, even they don't benefit the non-Muslims. But as a Muslims, I would want to utilize the learnings of Islam in psychology and help the people.
Why not?
That I realized. And how do you think people should realize the skills? And
You have beautiful question. I'm not gonna lie. Why? Because knowledge. You have to have knowledge.
True.
But that's the thing.
Exactly.
If you don't have knowledge, you will think, okay, being a psychologist, it's haram. Why? Who told you this? Being an engineering, this means I'm gonna be away from Allah Azza. Who told you this? Rather, this is why you should seek knowledge. I always
Very
guide
great
people.
point.
I
Yes.
always guide people to the conclusion of Sheikh Fawzan. Did I ever tell you this? I don't know. You should always refer back to Sheikh Fawzan's conclusion of his explanation of a book called Akhsar al-Mukhtasarat in fiqh. After he finished the book, he gave us a conclusion. He told us how to seek knowledge, how to go step by step, and he gave us tactics and strategies. And then this is the point why I mentioned is he touched upon the point of what is the best worship. What is the best worship? He mentions what Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah says, that it is subjective. In general, the best of deeds is man allama al-Quran wa ta'allamahu. The one who teaches the Quran and he learns it. This in general. But when you look at people, as Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, the Shaykh Fawzan mentions about him, is it subjective to your talent. If you are good as a doctor, and that's your talent as a doctor, then you using it and utilizing it to benefit the Muslim, that will be your best worship. Allahu Akbar.
Allah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So they will be like, when I'm a doctor, I'm staying away from Allah Azza wa Jal. I might not be praying Taraweeh. I might not be doing these things. We'll tell them, Habibi, you being as a doctor and benefiting the Muslim, that's better than you praying Taraweeh. You being an engineer and working as an engineer, and that's your talent, and you utilizing it to benefit the Muslims. That's the best worship you can do.
That doesn't mean that you don't pray Tarawih, right?
No, that doesn't mean. But what I'm saying is,
But
if it's
if you're
conflicting,
prioritizing sometimes.
exactly. You see. So, Islam, to answer your question, is to gain knowledge. Gain knowledge.
This is how I realized maybe that when I was listening to these different lectures, and I realized that it's the need of being a psychologist, a Muslim psychologist, is very high.
Exactly.
And if I didn't go into seeking knowledge, if I just wanted to watch some movies and waste my time, I would never realize my importance. This is what people do.
And then you're gonna be like, psychologist. I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
No, but you can actually benefit the Muslims, and that will be your personal best worship.
Even doing MBA or any other degree, like even business, you are doing sunnah. Then if you're actually doing business, and if you're going to the university daily with a mindset that allow me to learn the skill of business so that I benefit myself, my family, and my ummah. Subhanallah.
That's it. And that doesn't happen except with knowledge.
True. Subhanallah. So I was asking you. So basically, what's the conclusion of identifying your skill? How do we identify the skill?
That's a good point. Is
Yep.
basically the opposite of what we said of what stops you from recognizing your skill. When we mentioned the three things of what stops you from recognizing it, and if you recognize it, what stops you from utilizing it, and then the last thing we mentioned is utilizing it. Some people use it in haram,
Yes.
and why that? Basically, the answer of how to find your talent is the complete opposite of what I mentioned of the things that stop you from recognizing your talent. Have good friends. If you want to recognize your talent, have good friends.
People who think high of
Exactly. And then have people who will recognize your own talent and tell you, mashallah, you know that you're good at this. And you're going to be like, you know what?
I never thought about
about that.
But a friend who can see from a far side
and this is why we're friends. This is why we're brothers. Because you're going to be like, yeah, you're good at that. Do you know that? And you're going to be like, oh, yeah. But if you have friends who are wasting their times in playing card, what thing will they recognize? Nothing. You see what I'm saying? So this is how one thing I will only mention, is have good friends, have good companions. That's the thing.
So do you think these statements are just for the children or the adults? And how much do you think it plays the importance in the youth?
Look, the youth themselves, I would say they have two responsibilities. They have two responsibilities. Responsibility number one is to man up for themselves, to push yourself. I will just give an example. I shouldn't, because I'm in Cozy Cast, I shouldn't, but I will. I honestly didn't want to record today. Let's be real. I didn't want to record today. I wasn't feeling it. But what? Sometimes you what? And look at this beautiful conversation we're having. Right? I'm enjoying it right now. You see? So sometimes what the youth is responsible for themselves sometimes, and is for them to push themselves and motivate themselves, and it might be tough, I'm not gonna lie.
It will be fun though.
But it will be really fun.
It will be really fun,
especially
because
when you achieve what you wanted to do.
Yes.
You're gonna be like,
Very happy.
I don't know what I could have done if I didn't do that. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? يعني inshallah after we finish this podcast, I'm gonna feel good. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be like, Alhamdulillah.
We did a
You
great
get me?
thing,
We at least did an episode today.
Yeah.
You know. So you need to know your goal, and you will not achieve it unless you fix your intention.
And
because
push yourself.
why am I doing this? Why are we sitting here in a podcast? Why am I doing this podcast? This is an example for me. But think about you yourself. Why am I, for example, editing?
Why am I going to the university?
Why am I going to the university? I'm not feeling it, but why am I doing it? I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. You push yourself. You go ahead. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. And
So,
pushing yourself, I realize, when it's a useless life, man, if you're just following a routine and everything, and things
get
are
out of
not
your
happening, you
comfort
can
zone.
just
Yeah,
go
yeah.
on. But I realize whenever I push myself, I try to sleep less.
you have
or
to
eat
get out
less.
of. Yeah.
That's the best days. I thought, okay, I didn't sleep well today, I will not have a good day. But still I pushed. But then I realized, wow, subhanAllah, not
Amazing,
sleeping
yeah.
helped me today. And not eating has helped
You
me
did
more.
something.
Yes.
You see. Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah,
this
pushing.
this is the first obligation, or I wouldn't say obligation, but what's the correct word? What do you think? Yeah, like yeah.
First recommended point.
Yeah, I don't want to say obligation and then they'll think it's واجب وما أدري إيش. لا. Okay? Or
Yes.
obligatory meaning not in a Shari'i sense. Okay, let's keep
Yes.
it that way. Okay. The second thing is you have a role and it's responsibility. Yes, it's your responsibility. Is the first thing we mentioned. Number two is to inspire those around you. Inspire those around you. The responsibility the youth have is number one, to push themselves, to motivate themselves, to know what you're doing this for. And due to you knowing that and having that intention for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal, because we're in Kozikas, Islamic, we're not going to go around,
Yes.
straight,
Yes.
for the sake of Allah. If you don't want to do it for the sake of Allah, it's not the podcast for you. We're doing it for the sake of Allah. When you realize that and you act upon it, that's your first responsibility. You push yourself. The second is you motivate those around you. Tell them, Ya akhi, when you see someone with good talent or something, don't be
Motivate them.
quiet. Tell him, you're good at this. I'm not gonna lie.
Many
And
people don't do this. They realize and they just ignore it.
They have a couple of reasons why. I will mention one.
Yes.
What do you think?
Maybe they don't
Jealousy.
Jealousy. True.
Jealousy.
They don't like them to get better.
No,
Someone else to get better than them.
لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحبه لنفسه. No one of you will believe until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. But many people don't apply this. So they see him, mashallah, he's good at editing. They see him is good at talking. They see him is good at drawing. They see him is good at writing.
Even business.
Or business. But
They
what?
start jealous.
But they see it, but they're not gonna
Tell it.
Why? Inside. He's not gonna say I'm jealous of him, but inside,
Hasad is.
hasad is there. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe it could be within me and my small brother. I see he's smart, but I don't want to
Especially,
compliment
Habib, especially.
small people. Yes.
Especially. So it is your responsibility to inspire those around you. If you see something good in someone, you what? You inspire. You tell him, look, man, you're actually good at that. Like think about growing it. Number two is to tell him to have the right intentions.
Correct.
Again, we're in Kozikas, Islamic, 100%. Alhamdulillah, inshallah.
Yep.
We're not gonna tell, use it, be a musician, you have a nice voice. A'udhu billah. No. We tell him, you have a good voice. Why not you memorize the Quran? Why not teach the Quran after that?
Correct.
And do it for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. You see, so two things. You recognize someone's talent and you help him with that. And the second thing is you also what? Tell him intentions, correct your intentions. These things are responsibilities upon us as youth. You see? And third thing is, which is something you can't control, but what you technically can, is you have your intentions to inspire people around you. Like you keep that also as an intention.
Which is the part of second point, which is to inspire others.
Exactly.
Help them
But
to understand.
doing your role, which is now spiritual. Like the first thing is, the second point I mentioned is physical. Yani you tell someone you have a good point. But here I'm saying it is spiritual.
Like you pray for them.
You either
And
pray for
intent-
them, or even in your intention when we are doing something, we are doing it at the same time we want people to be inspired by us. you know, when you publicize your article, for example,
Mm-hmm.
or when you publicize our podcast, for
Yeah,
example,
for example.
our intention should be also that what we want to inspire those who are here to utilize what they have. So these are
Yes.
three responsibilities I would mention when
Yep.
it comes to the youth. Yeah.
Yep, subhanallah. These are very concise points, and we have discussed them and tried our best to, what do you call, to mention all points closer to the topic as possible. And this was a short podcast, but I believe if you take a pen and paper and a mind,
Yeah.
you will really enjoy re-listening this
Yeah.
and noting all this stuff down. So until next time,
And why not we give them the conclusion of what we did in general?
yep, that
Yeah.
would be great.
So when we mention in general, we talked about in Islam and how it emphasizes your يعني learning and whatnot.
Yes.
We mentioned three things, 3 points of what is stopping you from figuring out your talent. We mentioned what things are stopping you from utilizing your, or what, yeah, like utilizing it after you recognized it.
Yes.
And what are the things that causes you to do it in the haram instead of doing it in the
Halal.
halal. And then we mentioned, because we mentioned people have different skills, and some people might say like, my skill, I can't use it Islamically, because maybe we told them no, seek knowledge and you'll understand that whatever you are talented in, that's the best thing you should focus on.
Yep.
And then we mentioned the benefits of for the Muslims and using it for their benefit, and the responsibilities upon the youth. And we mentioned two things with the responsibilities on the youth.
Yes.
Is number one, to push themselves,
Yes.
and we mentioned some points in that. And finally, we mentioned, or the second point is inspiring the responsibility, inspiring others. And that's basically our podcast today, alhamdulillah.
Yep.
Anything
So
else?
we made it concise so that you guys can watch it again, because
Yeah.
how concise it is, the people gonna love to watch it, and even I personally would just on a go would love to listen this, inshallah. So
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت واستغفرك وأتوب
وأتوب
إليك
إليك.
والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.